Yay. Here we are with Julie, and Julie, how do you say your last name? I didn't even ask you that.
Goulis.
Goulis. Okay.
Goulis.
So she's going to share her book with us now. And I'm going to go off camera.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be able to read my book to you. So thank you for joining us and for this opportunity. I'm pretty good at writing stories, but I'm not that great with technology. So fingers crossed that I do this all right today. So before I read the book, I just wanted to tell you a tiny bit about me and how I came up with writing these children's stories. So when I was growing up, I had 2 sisters and a bunch of friends on our street, and we just would play outside all day, and we would play tons of imagination games, make-believe games, just making things up and having fun with it. And then my younger sister and I, one of my favorite games I played with her was keep away from the crocodiles at the bottom of the stairs. So we used to climb our stairs pretending we were like on the side of a cliff, and we would try not to fall and get eaten by the crocodiles. So that's just one of my favorite games that I remember playing growing up. And we also used to tell a lot of stories to each other. I love reading. I don't know if you can see my room that I'm in, but I have a ton of books. I have to be reading books all the time. So I decided to combine those 2 interests. So like using my imagination and writing, and decided to come up with a few children's books of my own. It's a side hobby that I do. And today I am going to read you The Things a String Can Be. So as an author, I tell stories using words. The artist who draws the pictures tells stories using pictures. So my friend John Ferguson actually drew all the pictures that you'll see in this book, and he drew them by pencil, so you don't need anything fancy. He just drew all the pictures using a pencil, and then he scanned them into his computer and worked on them from there. So like Joan said, anyone can be creative, an artist, an author, if you have the interest in doing it. So with that, I will jump in. So this is The Things a String Can Be. And it's dedicated to good old-fashioned imagination. The sun peeked out from the big fluffy clouds. Finally, thought Sam, I can go out and play. You see, it had rained for days and days, big, wet, cold raindrops falling from the sky, leaving nothing to do but play inside. It's kind of how I feel today, like it's nice and sunny outside today finally, so hopefully some of you got to play outside. Mommy, where are my toys? I'm going outside with the other girls and boys. They're all put away for the day, but that's okay. Just see what you can find with the rain left behind. So there's Sam asking his mom where all of his toys are. And then if you can see the 2 pictures in the background hanging on the wall, those are actually pictures of myself when I was 2. And a picture of John, the artist, when he was in 4th grade. So when you create your own thing, you can do fun little things like that. Add your own little special touches. So off Sam went with a twinkle in his eye to enjoy a full day under the big blue sky. On the way to the playground in a puddle big and round, Sam saw something, a long white string. There's the string Sam found and his reflection in the water in the puddle. A string, thought Sam. Did it fall from the sky? Is this what Mommy meant, what the rain left behind? But what good is a string? What fun can it bring? It's not a ball for bouncing or a bike for riding. It's just a silly string, this wet old thing. Or was it? And this is when Sam starts to use his imagination. Sam thought and he thought. He let his mind go free. This string must do something, but what could it be? I know, thought Sam. I'll use this string. I'll stretch it long and make a big tree swing. So there's Sam swinging in the tree. Clearly it's fall with all the yellow leaves on the tree and his friend pushing him super, super high. I know, thought Sam. I'll use this string. I'll loop it through a pail for frog fishing. I used to love catching frogs when I was little. I know, thought Sam. I'll use this string. I'll escape the dinosaur by rock climbing. This is sort of like me playing keep away from the crocodiles at the bottom of the stairs. Also, one little thing, if you can see the little lizard on top of the well or whatever that Sam's in, that's a real picture of a lizard. So the artist didn't draw that, he found that image and put it in there. So just again, like some little fun little things you can do when you make your own creations. I know, thought Sam, I'll use the string. I'll invite my friends for jump roping. I know, thought Sam, I'll use the string. I'll see pretty fish by scuba diving. And I'm just going to go back a page so you can see Sam using his imaginary string to go scuba diving and look at all the pretty fish in the sea. I know, thought Sam, I'll use the string. I'll take it to the jungle and do some exploring. So another thing, all of this is hand-drawn, except for the birds flying in the background. Those are pictures of real birds that John, the artist, put in this little scene. I know, thought Sam, I'll use this string. Sam worked all day and into the evening to create something special out of this silly old string. And of all the things he dreamed it could be, the best thing of all was a gift for his mommy. And he made a necklace. It's hard to see, but the bottle caps on it spell out, I love you. So of all the things he dreamed the string could be, he made something real for his mom. And you could easily make a necklace yourselves for somebody special in your family or a friend, just using a string. So sweet little Sam. And then in the back of the book too, we don't need to go through these, but we included activities that kids can do using string as well. So that's the end of the things a string can be. I hope you enjoyed it.
Joan, you're muted.
Hi, I'm popping on.
I was like, did I get kicked off and not even realize it?
All is well. This is technology. So do any children have any questions? People can put them. Emma, is there the Q&A for them? If they want to submit questions for the author, or if they have ideas for what they think a string could be.
We don't have anything yet, but again, guys, if you have questions for Julie or Joan, or suggestions, like Joan said, about all the creative things you can do with a string, go ahead and just put that in the question and answer box.
And while we wait,
able to read that out.
Great. And while we wait for those to come in, I'm just going to show you again. I think you might have all seen me. I held up a complete piece of paper. It was whole. And I talked about what can you do with a piece of paper, and how in my kindergarten class, we had writing time every day. I did a little video about this another time on Facebook that we put on Facebook, but even for children as young as 2 or 3, 4 years old, they can dictate stories to you where you write it down for them, and they tell you the words, they tell you a story, you write it down, doesn't have to, and as they get older, it will start to have a structure and make more sense. Initially, it might not make a lot of sense, and you might be able to ask questions along the way to help it become a fuller story or a more complete. And then at another time, your family could act it out, and different members of the family could be different characters. If it's just one person in the book and it's 2 sentences, we used to do that with my 3-year-olds. When I taught 3-year-olds, I'd let them do that, and they loved it. So we were just promoting their creativity that way, and their thinking skills, and making them feel like a writer. So, but other things you can do, you can set up a creativity area for your child to encourage the creativity, like you saw with Sam with the string. So if you have yarn around, you know, you could have little containers. You could just use little boxes. This could be something the child would play with in the bathtub, or to build with. If you save and stack plastic containers and make them toys, let children play or create with them, they will find interesting ways to use them. I just was looking around my house this morning. I found a bag from onions. Like, again, like they'll do amazing creative things with cardboard boxes, cardboard tubes. And if some of you, if you've, I had this from my mom sent me some oranges in the mail. So this was lying around. My son's sock got a hole in it. So you could, you've seen me, some of you may have seen me do this before, but you can turn it into a puppet. And give your child, again, at this creativity center, you could have scissors, tape, a hole punch. And again, I recommend those Fiskars scissors. Here's a little hole punch. These are good gift ideas for your child too, even as the holidays approach. If you do gift giving in your family, you could set up this little creativity center for them. And if they don't already have some of their own tape or scissors, yarn, all these other things, of course, always keep in mind how old your child is. You want these things to be safe for them. So I taught kindergarten for 10 years, so they were of the age where they could use these tools more easily. But again, the more your children know about different topics, the more creative they can be in incorporating information they have from the world into their play and into their writing or their creativity, their art making. So these are just some nonfiction books. Many of you, if you've watched these videos before, hear me talking about getting out, feeding your child's interest and curiosity, and then letting them create. So,
all right. So I'm going to jump in here for a moment because we're getting some questions.
Good.
Well, first of all, Elizabeth says thank you. So thank you, Elizabeth, for watching this program and enjoying it. From Ava, Julie, what is the best or your favorite thing that you've made with a string?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Do string lights count? Like hanging string lights?
String lights are good. That's a good idea. Seasonal, that works.
When I was growing up, we used to make those friendship bracelets with strings. So that's probably my favorite thing is our friendship bracelets.
Great. And then Elizabeth wants to know how many other books you've written.
I have 2 more. So today you saw the things a string can be. And then the second book that John and I did was something shiny, something round. So in this book, Sam, Sally, and Susie find a hubcap in the street and spend all day coming up with UFOs and sleds and flying magic carpets and things like that. And then the Topsy-Turvy Towel is them playing with beach towels that they had with them. And one other thing I meant to mention is that the children's names in the books are Sam, Sally, and Susie. Sam is the name of the artist's son. Sally is my mom's name. And Susie is my godmother's name. So that's also something fun you can do when you create your own things, is use personal things from your life to include in your stories.
Very good. And one thing for parents I noticed in the things a string can be, obviously, as you're reading the book, we always encourage you to have a conversation and to ask questions, the jargon is dialogic reading. We know that's really great for children's language development. But one of the fun things in this book, you can point out the ing, like if you want to talk about the letters and how the letters make the sounds, because ing is in that book again and again and again, because she's rhyming, right? So we're always encouraging you to rhyme with your children as well. It's really important for their literacy development. Any more questions, Emma?
Stephen is curious, how long does it take to write a book like that from start to finish? He wants a rough estimate.
So I probably spent, so I have a full-time job. So this is something I did like at night when I got home from work or on the weekends. So I would just do it in my free time, and I went back and forth with the artist a lot too on like what kind of activity do we want the string to be on this page, so then he would know what to draw. So we collaborated on putting the story together. But I would say like it's a short story. Once I got into the rhythm of it and the rhyming, maybe like a month. And that's not straight, obviously. That's just working a couple hours here and there on the weekend, and then just going back and rewriting it until I was happy with the finished product. So I know that's not like a real good, like solid answer, but that's what it is. It took John a lot longer to draw all the pictures, put it that way. That was probably more like 9 months.
Did you have a lot of pages that you ended up not including, or, you know, a lot of ideas?
Yeah, I mean,
we noted it down.
Yeah, so like I said, like I liked, part of writing is editing, so I would just change a lot of things and go back and redo things, and yeah, so.
So for the children, she just used a word called editing, and she said a lot of writing is editing. So I often tell parents that, you know, children need, in order to develop a skill, you have to keep practicing to get better and better at it. And often you need some help from other people to get better, or so you might talk things over. So that's, again, if you were to your child were going to dictate stories, or you're going to have writing time, you know, children are going to they're going to do something called developmental spelling. So they're going to start just putting out the writing, trying to write as they learn the letters and how to write them and the sounds they make. They'll start putting down the ones they know and what they hear, and doing their best job. And you can give some specific praise to say, oh, look, you made, you know, I see you made an N, you know, it has those 3 lines, or, you know, an A, I see it, doesn't it kind of like a triangle? You could talk about the way they look, accept their efforts, and they're going to get better and better. And then in time, you know, teachers and others are going to help them, are going to be their editors and are going to help them progress. But they need practice to get better and better at it, right, Julie? It takes many tries. You have to, what's that?
I've been writing for that's my full-time job, working in advertising. And so I've been doing it for 20 something years, and I still feel like I'm practicing sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But you just keep trying. Mm-hmm. And other people will help you along the way. So any other questions, Emma?
We have a suggestion from Elizabeth. She says her grandson Jesse likes to use string pieces on sandpaper. It's interesting seeing how those might interact with each other.
Ooh, I'm interested in hearing more about that. I wonder what he does. Does he glue them on?
I don't know, Elizabeth, if you want to respond to that, I'll make sure that your response is heard. And then Crystal would like to know, Julie, what made you want to write a children's book specifically?
So the artist, John, he and we worked together for many years. I think we worked together for like 6 or 7 years at one point. And so we do this as a full-time job. He's he's a graphic designer. I'm a copywriter. And just one day we were like, what can we do in addition to our full-time jobs that would give us meaning, like make us feel like we're doing more for the community at large, and just doing something to help kids use their imagination, because we, you know, see a lot of kids like on screens and technology and stuff, which is great, but it's also important to use your imagination and play make-believe. So just having like a conversation and a dialogue one day after work, we came up with the idea of creating a children's book together. And that's why, and our whole mission was to dedicate it to using your imagination.
That's great. Well, I think it's great, and we do plan to share. We're hoping to share the other books in similar story times. I just wanted to tell parents that we have another video on Facebook right now that is about the best toys and gifts for young children. And in that video, so you can watch that at any time. It's up. You should be able to find it on our Facebook page. But in it, I keep talking about the fact that the best toys for children that foster great play experiences that are great for their brains and their overall development are the ones that do the least are the ones that are the best. So the ones where the child does the most with it, using their imagination, creating from it, are better than the ones with all the bells and whistles. So the more a child does with the toy and the less the toy does itself, the better the toy or the gift. And so again, I feel like this book really supports that message of promoting a child using their imagination and creativity. And I was demonstrating earlier all the things you could do with a piece of paper, whether it's folding it or making a little accordion and making it pop up. There's just, once you get kids in the habit of creating, you'll be surprised by what they can do. So they need time to mess around with materials, to practice. And I wanted to tell parents a quick story about a child that was in my kindergarten class. And we had writing time every day. And this one little boy, just wonderful, fun, smart little fellow, I had this happen actually with a couple different children who are now grown up and amazing. But he'd cry every day at writing time. He did not want to write. I mean, he just would have sort of a temper tantrum. And his parents asked me, oh, do you think he could, they looked at the description of attention deficit disorder. And they asked me, do you think maybe he has that? Is that the problem? And I just said to them, you know what? I think it would be best to I just had a hunch that they should go visit an occupational therapist. And just see what happened when they did that. This was a little boy who had great fine motor skills with certain activities like Legos. He could just make the most detailed, intricate structures, but at writing time, he hated it. They went to an occupational therapist, had a little assessment. Sure enough, he needed some help. That was where the issue lay. He was really uncomfortable and didn't know how to use the utensils, and it was just hard for him. Few sessions with an occupational therapist, and or over not that long a period of time, things really improved for him. And his mom came back to see me when he was in first grade, and he had a twin brother who was a phenomenal artist, just constantly creating with all kinds of materials and creating stuff that you thought an adult made, drawing and painting, and very sophisticated. So this other twin, that was the one that was struggling. Well, she came back to see me a year later and showed me some very intricate drawings that someone had done. And I said, oh, I guessed the twin. I said, I bet so-and-so did that. I'm not using a word. I'll just say C did that. Not the one who was the great artist. And sure enough, yeah, he developed into this incredible skilled draftsman and artist himself. So sometimes when children are resisting an activity, there's something else going on, and it's good to just explore a little deeper to see what kinds of help and support they need. So I just wanted to share that story because all children are different and find different things challenging and need our love and sometimes need a helping hand. So, and I'm trying to think if I was going to tell you guys anything else today. Oh, next week at Friday at 4, we're going to re-show another video that we did about a year ago, and it was just for our Facebook group, and it's with me and a social worker who was a counselor for families and their children, Georgie Gray. We did a workshop on positive discipline and just supportive parenting. So that will be for parents, and that will be up on Facebook next week. This video will be up for a while, And did anyone else have any more questions for us? I hope you enjoyed it.
Elizabeth just said that for the string and sandpaper, the string actually will stick to the sandpaper, so you can kind of make designs or letters or numbers or things like that. So that's pretty cool.
That's great.
Awesome.
That's a great way too for a child to practice making shapes and letters. Like if they're not ready to, it's great for children when they're learning how, about letters, to be able to create them in different ways, not just with writing implements, but to be able to trace them out in, some people do it in whipping cream or shaving cream, or, you know, or in sand, or, you know, rolling them with Play-Doh, all kinds of things. So that's great, that hands-on experience to get them more familiar and make it more fun. So thank you for sharing that.
A woman that I work with who's also a writer, she writes before typing in stuff on the computer. She starts off on paper and writes like in a circle. It makes her mind think differently and come up with better ideas. I've heard of things like that before, but I've never seen anybody actually do it, but she does it all the time, and she's a great writer. I also just wanted to say, somebody asked about the 2 other books that I wrote. I forgot to say, like, they're not on Amazon or anything like that. Like, they're on bubblegumbooks.com, just FYI.
Right, that's where they can buy them and get the 30% discount if you go there before the end of December 2020, and mention your Imagination Library family and you watch the video. If you want to buy those books, you can. And then people can get entered in the drawing, like Emma said earlier. So anyway, we're happy that you came and joined us today. We'll do more of these. And if you have suggestions for programs for us to do, topics that you want us to cover, please feel free to email me or Emma, or put it in the comment section on our Facebook page, and we'll do our best. So wishing everyone, if you celebrate holidays, happy holidays. I know various people are celebrating one festival of light right now, and there's others coming. So everyone stay safe, strong, and healthy. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.